Are you trying to buy a house with as little as 3.5% down, even with a 500 credit score? If so, then this video is for you, because today I'm breaking down the new loan requirements for FHA in 2026, and more importantly, what you're going to need to qualify. So we're going to cover credit score, debt to income ratio, mortgage insurance, and the documents that you'll need to get pre-approved. So FHA loans, it's a government loan that's just backed and insured by HUD, and they created FHA to really help with home affordability, which is why it's the most flexible for low to middle credit score. Now this loan, it's not just for first-time homebuyers, although a lot of time it's branded as a first-time homebuyer loan. And a lot of people don't realize that you can use an FHA loan to buy land and build your house and also rehab a house as well. Now, minimum down payment is going to be 3.5%, and they will allow you to use either your money from your 401k, IRA, you can use money from your home equity from another house. You can also get a gift from a family member, and you can get either a grant or a down payment assistance program to help cover that 3.5%. Now, the main thing that they don't allow for the down payment is they're not going to allow you to pay for it straight in cash. They want that money to be in the bank for at least 2 months to season. And you also can't use like a personal loan or any type of loan for the down payment, and you can't use a credit card as well. Now let's go over some grant programs. Now there's hundreds of different grants and down payment assistance programs out there, and they're all designed to help cover that down payment. Now there's really two different types. You have one that are grants that are forgivable, which means you don't have to pay it back. And then you have a second type that's repayable, where you're either making payments on the amount that they give you on a monthly base, or if you ever go to sell or refinance, that money has to get paid back. So it's really important when you're taking on one of these programs that you understand what all the stipulations are, because all these programs have different set of guidelines and restrictions. So you want to make sure that you're working with a mortgage broker like myself that has access to all the different programs and can help you figure out what's your best option. Now, closing costs, it's separate from the down payment, and FHA will allow the seller to cover all of your closing costs up to 6% of the purchase price. And really what closing costs consist of is you have your title fees, you have your government and your state fees as well, you have your lender fees, you have your appraisal fees, you have a big amount of your closing costs is starting up what's called your escrow account, which is just paying your home insurance and part of your property taxes in advance. And a good rule of estimate is closing costs can be anywhere from 2 to 4%. And the reason this varies a lot is because it's going to vary from state to state, sometimes even county to county. So when it comes to credit score, you'll see a lot of places advertise that they can go down to a 580, sometimes even below with an FHA loan. But what they don't tell you is you will need a lot larger down payment than the required 3.5%, and you're going to get killed on the rate and fees with that credit score. So really that next benchmark is going to be a 620, because a 620 is going to allow you to come in with the minimum 3.5% down, and you'll get a lot better terms. Now, at a 660 plus credit score, you're going to get a lot better interest rate and better terms than a 620, and you'll have the most options available to you when it comes to different grant and down payment assistance programs. Now, if you've had major credit events happen to you in the past, FHA is going to be the most flexible for you in regards to waiting periods. So if you've had a foreclosure, FHA waiting period is about 3 years versus conventional, it's 7. If you've had a short sale in the past, FHA waiting period is 3 years, conventional is 4 years. If you've had a bankruptcy and it's a Chapter 7, FHA waiting period is 2 years versus conventional, it's 4 years. And with a Chapter 13, FHA waiting period is only 1 year versus conventional, which is 4 years. So a lot of lenders do not explain mortgage insurance correctly to their clients before they take out an FHA loan. And it's one of the biggest downfalls to this type of loan. Now, the whole purpose is it funds FHA, and it's there to ensure the lender in case anything happens to the loan. And you pay for it in 2 ways with FHA. Number one, you pay an upfront fee. Now, this is wrapped into the loan amount, and it's about 1.75%. So if you have a $300,000 loan amount, they will add to your loan $5,250. Then you're also paying mortgage insurance on a monthly basis. Well, there's a monthly calculation, but on a $300,000 loan amount, you're going to make payments around $137 a month, and it does not ever fall off on the loan. You have to either refinance to a conventional loan in order to take out the monthly mortgage insurance. Now, on a conventional loan, if you put down less than 20%, you only have to pay monthly mortgage insurance for a period of time, then it falls off. But conventional does not have this upfront fee. Now with FHA, you need a 2-year job history. Now this doesn't have to be in the same job, doesn't even have to be in the same line of field, just as long as you have had a job for the last 2 years. Now, if you receive a W-2 in the beginning of the year, then what they're going to ask for is your last 30 days of pay stubs. They're also going to ask for your W-2s for the last 2 years, even if you've had different jobs. Now, if you're self-employed, if you're a business owner, or if you receive a 1099, what they're going to ask for is your last 2 years of tax returns. And what they look for is they're going to look at your overall income. They're going to minus any of your write-offs and your expenses on the tax returns, and that's going to give them their taxable income. And your taxable income is the actual income they're going to use to pre-approve you and to qualify you for the loan. So it's important that you work with a mortgage broker and a CPA up front if you're wanting to buy a house. Now, your debt to income ratio, or your DTI, determines how much you're approved for, how much you're qualified for, and it really determines the entire loan. And all the ratio is just how much of your monthly income goes towards your monthly debt. Now, on an FHA loan, they'll allow 56% of your monthly income to go towards your monthly debt. And here's what they consider as monthly debt. They look at your car payment, they look at your credit cards amount, they factor in any personal loans, student loan payments. They also factor in the future mortgage payment as well, and any child support or any alimony that you pay. Now, what they don't consider debt and what they don't consider into this ratio is any health insurance, car insurance, cell phone bill, gas, rent, childcare, things like that. So here's the formula that all banks and lenders use in order to determine how much you're approved for. So number one, you're going to add up all of your monthly debt. And this also includes the future mortgage payment as well. Then you're going to divide by your monthly income, and you're going to use your gross amount. This is pre-tax income. Then you're going to multiply that by 100, and this is just to get the percentage. So let's say, for example, if you add up all of your monthly debt, include the future mortgage payment, you have $4,920 in monthly debt, and you divide it by your monthly income. Let's say you have about $9,000 total household income. If you divide that, that's going to give you 0.54, which is going to give you 54%, which is your debt to income ratio, which in this scenario, you would get qualified for an FHA loan. Now, you can use an FHA loan to buy pretty much any type of property as long as it's your primary residence and you're going to be living there for a minimum of 1 year. So you can use it to buy a manufactured home, condo, townhouse. You can even use it to buy a multifamily home as long as it's 4 units or less. Now, the beauty of multifamily homes is you can use the rental income from the other units to help you qualify. Now, the main thing is when it comes to condos, the condos must be approved by FHA itself, so it requires a little bit more paperwork. Now, an FHA appraiser is there to do really 2 things. Number 1, make sure you're not buying the house for less than what it's worth. And number 2, the house itself must pass any health and safety requirements. And FHA is a lot more stricter when it comes to appraisal requirements than conventional. And the home almost has to be move-in ready condition. Now, if the appraiser sees any issues with the house, let's say the roof is leaking, it needs a new roof, or there's a big crack itself, anything that the appraiser calls out as a health and safety issue or concern must be fixed by the seller, and you cannot close on the loan until it's fixed. And actually, the appraiser will come back out to the house itself to inspect that it was done correctly. And here's an overall good strategy. So use FHA to help get you into the home or get a multifamily home. Also, have the seller cover your closing costs or get a grant for the down payment, anything to help lower your cash to close. Then once you've closed on the home, you're in the home itself, work on your credit score during this time. Also, having a mortgage with on-time payments will help you increase your credit score, because the goal is you want to eventually refinance into a conventional loan, really to drop the mortgage insurance, which conventional, it's a lot better long-term. You'll save a lot more money doing this way. And here's how to apply. So FHA doesn't lend directly to the public, so you can't go to them to get a loan. So you'll need to apply with a mortgage broker like myself, someone that's experienced in FHA loans. And if you're planning to buy a house and want to know how much buying power you have, click on the link in the description, schedule a call, and I'll be in touch.